So I was draping something the other day and Iris wanted to know, how do you prepare your fabric for draping? Well, today we're going to show you. So let's do it. And you might be thinking, preparing my fabric for draping? What do you mean? We need to prepare our fabric because when it is rolled and shipped around, all the fibers start to move a little bit and they get skewed and they get warped. And so if we start draping with fabric that is skewed, what's going to happen? Our drape is not going to turn out properly, or we might drape it a certain way and then transfer it and sew it up out of some nice fabric. And when you're sewing it up, it might not look right or line up. To explain a little further, muslin is made up with two fibers, one running lengthwise and one running cross grain. And when these fibers are skewed, they're no longer at a 90-degree angle. And we want them to be at a 90-degree angle when we're draping, so that way we get a proper drape. So if it's been shipped to you and all the little fibers are off just a little bit, guess what? Your drape is going to be off just a little bit. Just real quick, if you're really enjoying Sewing Anastasia, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. And if you'd like to learn more about sewing, well, make sure you check out our online classes and in person. Links are down below. Now let's learn how to block our fabric. The first thing we are going to do is snip and rip our fabric. That's right, we're going to rip it because it's going to rip perfectly on the cross grain for us. If you try to cut this with scissors or a rotary cutter, it's going to be a little bit off, and we want this perfect. And if you've never ripped fabric before, it's going to go great. It is meant to do this. Just make sure you have that plain woven fabric when you're doing this, aka your muslin. So I'm just going to snip in about 1 inch. And then what we're going to do is take both edges and we're going to pull. And you can see there is a perfect fiber popping out of the middle. And we're just going to keep ripping all the way to the end to the other selvage. This is actually a very gratifying thing to do. So I'm preparing this piece of fabric to drape a bodice, so I don't need the whole piece of fabric. So I'm going to snip and rip again down the lengthwise grain. So it works both ways on the grain. So now I have a piece of fabric here. So we have our piece of fabric ripped both ways and it looks like it's square, but it's actually not. Take a look at this. So I have my selvage lined up on my grid here. And if we take a look at this end, it's right here at the right angle, and we follow it over, you can see it starts coming up almost an inch off, like 7/8 of an inch. So we can fix this, believe it or not. First, I'm gonna iron out the wrinkles real quick, and then we're gonna go over blocking, and you're gonna see how this piece of fabric transforms and ends up at a perfect 90-degree angle on both ends. So I ironed my fabric, and you can see it's still off. We are still way higher on this side than we are on this side. So the solution to fixing this is stretching the fabric, and when we stretch it, we're going to stretch it on the bias in both directions. So we're going to take the fabric at one end and then the other end right across from it, and we are going to pull it. So you are going to stretch this fabric, and once you stretch it this way, we are going to go the opposite way. Now we're going to come in this direction and stretch it. And it should take these fibers and make them meet at a 90-degree angle. And you want to give this a good tug down both sides in both directions. So you're basically like loosening up that weave, getting it to go back together. So that way it's going to meet at a 90-degree angle, which is really important. We want to have that nice drape. And then once you think you've got it, lay it on your grid and see if it's straight. And if it's not, you need to do it just a little bit more. Now that we've blocked it, you can see how this edge here is now 90 degrees. So now when we drape, things are going to turn out much nicer. Look at how it was before and look at how it is now. Now you've learned how to prepare your fabric for draping. You're going to be using a method called blocking. If you're doing this, don't get obsessed with it. You need it really close to a 90-degree angle. Just make sure it's better than it was when you started. And it's going to be great. Thanks for watching Sewing Anastasia today. If you have any questions on blocking your fabric, Leave it down below and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And I'd like to know, what kind of draping techniques would you like to see this year? Leave that down below in the comments as well. If you're enjoying Silly Anastasia, make sure you subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when all the new videos come out. And if you're in Chicago, come on into the design studio and take some classes with me. Or if you're not, make sure you check out our online classes. There's links down below for all of that. And if you want to know what's going on in the studio, make sure you check out the Instagram stories. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.